Hey, everybody, what's going on? I am so excited to see everybody here. We're going to give it like one more minute and then we're going to get started. Okay.
I'll put the Zoom game on too.
That would be a great idea. All right, so Sandy is gonna put everybody that's on Zoom, their name on a card. So when we do the drawing for the $100, people on Zoom get a chance to participate as well. Is that exciting or what?
Fantastic.
Okay. Do you want to unmute the camera?
Oh, yes.
There it is. Oh, it's over.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, let's,
I'm gonna shut the door.
Joe's really loud. Don't put his name on a card. Mitra, thank you for being here.
Of course.
Everybody in Zoom is participating as well. We have 8, 9 people are popping in. I love it. All right, so next level mastery, the ultimate follow-up program, unstoppable success. So this has been a program that's been put together over the years. I've been doing this for about 21 years. Tracy's been doing this for about 18 years. And so over time, this has been tweaked. It's been tuned in, whatever you want to call it, to just kind of make it better and better to see what kind of results we get. It's based on your database, you putting people in your database, and then you following up with everybody in your database. I think the MREA books, I think it's like 15% or 16% turnover. You should get, that's how much business you should get. 16% of your database should buy, sell, or refer business out. I really feel like it's more like 6%. And I feel like if you can do anything around 6%, which I think is low, you can be massively successful. Keller Williams model has a 201 protocol, which is if you have 201 people in your database, you should be able to make at least $100,000 a year. I believe everybody on the planet has the potential to do more than that because I think everybody, the statistic that I've found is that the average person knows about 300 people. So if you do 6% of 300, that's 18 deals a year that I think everybody has in them. And I think the reason that it doesn't work if you don't do at least 18 deals a year is because you're just not following up and talking to your people enough. And over time, I started with Keller Williams doing the 33 touch back in like 2003. And I've tried every variation of it. And it's got to the point to where Tracy and I, and this is now, it's evolved because Tracy's put her spin on it and we've had our coach help us. And we actually do a 65 plus touch program. So everybody in our database gets 65 touches. And that's through phone calls, through text, through Facebook, through mailers, through all of these different things, which I'm going to go through each and every one of these. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the PDF of my follow-up program out to everybody that I have. So after the class, everybody's going to get the PDF in an email. I'll send it to you so you can send it to the office. And we're going to do a drawing for $100 at the end of all of this. So let's start. Let's just get into it. All right. So everything starts with mindset. The way you think about it is really key. And customer service. So you have to have a mindset of customer service. And I love this strategy. So everybody knows who Chick-fil-A is, and Chick-fil-A is known for their customer service. But did you know that Chick-fil-A, they make more money than McDonald's, Starbucks, and Subway combined? They, for 73 years, have been profitable every year that they have been in business. And they're actually closed 52 days a year minimum, not including special holidays or whatever, because they're not open on Sunday. And they only have like 12 or so like items on their menu, yet they're way more profitable than all of these companies. And their number one thing that they do better than, because I mean, we can all go get an amazing chicken sandwich somewhere else that's not Chick-fil-A, right? So they like Starbucks, they don't have the best coffee. Chick-fil-A does not have the best chicken sandwiches. They're not bad, I'll eat them. But you can go somewhere else and buy the best one. So having the best chicken sandwich is not the reason that they are successful. The reason they're successful is that it's customer service. Like, what's the thing that they say when you pay and you say thank you, what do they say?
Thank you for coming.
Nope. There's no Chick-fil-A people here?
Too bad.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I thought it was funny because when I go, I try to get them to say something different. So it's just, it becomes a game. But their number one thing is customer service. And if you get into a Chick-fil-A line and drive-through, like, they just like move you through there. It's really quick. I'll go to Chick-fil-A before I'll go to In-N-Out because the line is just so much quicker. So you have to think about your business from a customer service standpoint, not an I need a deal standpoint, which I believe most agents think of. So how your customers experience you will depend on how and if they refer you, if they come back. That I think is really important because when you're talking to your clients, when you're talking to your people, it's not about if they give you business. That would be great. But if they have a great experience and they think you're amazing, they're going to refer you to all their friends and family. And if we know an average of 300 people, that means everybody you know knows an average of 300 people as well. So it's the only thing that's quadratic in the whole follow-up system and the whole lead generation system with real estate. So being really nice to your people so that they refer you business is really the key and the secret sauce to real estate. I cannot tell you how many times that we get referred business from people that we've never done a deal with, ever. Like, I can tell you two right off the top of my head. We had somebody in Tracy's farm. She has about 250, 270 people in her farm. And she got a call from a lady who referred her kid. And the lady never done a deal with us. Never, ever, ever. It's from being in our website, in our database, in our little web that we have, and just constantly marketing to her, talking to her constantly, where she has in her mind, anybody I know is going to use Tracy. And the person she referred was her son, who just got married, and they were going to have a baby, and they actually went to Zillow and went out to see homes with another agent. The mom called and said, "What are you doing? You got to use Tracy." And I thought that was the coolest thing, and that's because of the amount of contacts that
The bond.
it's the bond. And like, because what Tracy does with her database, it's a personal connection thing. So like, we have a pie party. And it's not like we give a pie away, but we don't just give the pie away. We're like, come get a pie, have some drinks, have some wine, have some snacks, have some appetizers, and just kind of mingle in our house. And so like, we have this like 200 people in our house. It is not big enough for 200 people. Let's just make that clear. And they come over and it's an experience. And then we give them a pie. We're like, here, go in, like, we put the pies in the back of the house. The people come in the front, the wine and everything. They have to go through this whole thing. We have Santa there. Like, it's a whole thing. And then they get a pie and then they have to go back through it as they leave. And so it's like a connection thing. We just, she just did a moms and mimosas for Mother's Day. And I remember.
Were you in? I was invited.
Well, because nobody that had a real estate license was invited, just so we're clear.
No, we are not in their farm.
Yeah. Well, no, but we didn't do it just in the farm, we sent it to the entire database. So we had people from outside the database coming from LA, coming from all these places. And I remember like the first week, Tracy's like, nobody's showing, nobody's responding, nobody's RSVPing. By the first week, second week, there was 10 people, and like the day of, a bunch of people, and she's like, I hope I got enough stuff. I literally had to run to the store to get more stuff because they had like 20, 25 people show up to this moms and mimosas thing. It was like the perfect number. We had vendors come in with jewelry, we had vendors come in with soaps, we had wines, all these different champagnes and Prosecco's and snacks and food. Somebody brought food, like it was a really cool thing, but it's the connection that you create with people when you do things. So that's one of the 65 touches is the events. So you can create events throughout the entire year. So like we did the moms and mimosas. Sometimes we do a block party for the summer. We do the pie thing. We do shredding events. There's all of these different things we do. That's part of your follow-up program. But you have to understand that how they experience you is going to depend on if they refer you or if they end up coming back. So let's talk some follow-up statistics here. 92% of all customers' interactions happen over the phone. And I think with COVID happening, I think that's either that or higher. It takes an average of 8 cold calls to reach a prospect. Most agents don't even go past 2. 80% of, that's odd. It's supposed to say of sales require 5 follow-up calls after the meeting. I know that to be true when I'm recruiting agents. It takes me a bunch of messages and calls to actually follow up. It took me a lot with you. You were tough. 44% of sales reps give up after 1 follow-up. That's 100% correct. I know in the real estate industry, 100%. Salespeople who actively seek out and exploit referrals earn 4 to 5 times more than those who don't. Do you know what that means, exploit referrals? That means actually ask for them. Like, we have a program that our coach actually gave us, and it's just like, when we get in the process, what we say to them is like, listen, we want to do a really good job for you, and during this process, we're going to go through, we're going to come back and ask you for referrals. Like, we just tell them. And it's like a whole thing, like during certain parts of the transaction, we're like, how are we doing? How are things going? And we do that because we want to make sure that they have a good experience. More often than not, most real estate agents enter the transaction and they focus on the transaction. They don't focus on the person or the experience that they're having. And a lot of times, communication gets lost, especially on the other client side, because most clients, if they've sold a house 5 times in their life, that's a lot. Sometimes they're new homes or new home buyers, or they just haven't done it a lot. So they're hesitant to ask questions. And so if you're not communicating with them and having multiple conversations with them, not to see how the transaction's going, but to see how they're doing, that's really, really important. 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls after the meeting. Studies say that 90% of people want to do business with their realtor again. On average, 10% actually do. That is because we don't follow up. We treat it as a transient business to where we get a deal, we do the deal, and then we leave and we never come back. And I think that in California, that happens a lot because, the commissions are so big and people don't move for long periods of time. So I think, I can't remember the statistic, I had it, but the average time people would stay in their houses back in 2003, I think were like 5 to 6 years. I think it's like 15 to 20. I think it's really, I'll have to research that number. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a bigger number now.
But is it also a cultural thing?
Well, I think it has to do with the price of homes, interest rates. There's a whole plethora of different reasons of why that happens. I think if you go into different cultures, like go to Koreatown versus, the Persian community versus this, you're going to find definitely differences in that. But a lot of times, people will hand down properties and people will transfer properties like that, depending on the culture or whatever. So I think overall, though, the long-term, people are just staying in their homes longer. But,
Persian community don't sell.
Yeah.
It's indefinite.
Yeah, it becomes inherited.
And so when I hear that, I don't hear lack of sales, I hear opportunity for investment properties. Right, because if they're valuing their home where they're gonna keep it longer, that means they understand the value of a home, so let me go sell them an investment property. So, this is all about follow-up, because if somebody closes a deal and that agent closes the deal, that means the contract's over. That is anybody's client. Nobody is anybody's client until a contract is signed. So once somebody buys a property and that deal closes, that person is up for grabs, and statistics show that 75% of the time you can get them as a client if you follow up with them enough. Because that other agent is not, and that's just statistics. All right, so this is what we were just talking about. Are you a mercenary or a missionary? And do you know what the difference is? A mercenary is what most agents are. And a mercenary is defined as a hired gun, basically doing a job just for the money, and will do the job and then move on to not return. That's what most agents do. What you should be is a missionary. A missionary is on a journey for a cause, a journey for a purpose to create legacy and leave behind something positive. And a missionary goes on a mission to basically say, I'm in a relationship with you, I'm gonna stay in the relationship with you, I'm gonna follow up with you, and I'm gonna make sure that you have a great home buying experience. Does anybody, I mean, you guys have heard of like, oh, I have a family attorney, or I have an attorney on retainer, or like my tax person. Most people don't say, oh, I have a realtor, or I have a family realtor. And that's because of the way we treat the business. So when I talk to people, I'm like, I want to be a realtor for life. Like when you talk about your tax person, I want you to talk about your agent the same way. And so that's what we should all strive to be, is the missionary person. Why do people buy and sell? I think this is a very, very big problem in the real estate world because most agents don't understand why people are buying and selling. I cannot tell you how many times an agent comes to me and goes, do you have leads? Can you give me leads? Yeah, I want leads. You know, I'll join your office if you can give me leads. Just so we're clear. If I had leads that were good enough that we're gonna close deals, I wouldn't be giving them out. I'd be closing the deals. I'm not gonna give leads to somebody that's never closed a deal before, like a brand new agent, like, oh, I need leads. You already have leads. And I think that is where a lot of the disconnect happens, because I think Zillow and I think on these online lead portals have really kind of messed up the industry, because they want to sell you leads, but then there's no accountability to where they're getting the leads, how good are the leads, will the lead even answer the phone? Like, I'll give you leads all day. I want closed sales. And so there is no company, no service out there that is giving you leads that are guaranteed to close, because if that were true, they would not be selling them or giving them away to you. So the fact is that you all have leads, and they're all the people you know, and it is your sphere of influence. So when you say, oh, that's a referral, that's a sphere of influence, a family member, a friend, most people don't understand how sphere of influence works. So I'll outline it here really quick for everybody in the room. So the way your sphere of influence works, that's you. And then you have your first circle, which is your family. That's your family. That's typically between 5 and 10 people. Your next circle is your, what I call your board of directors, which is like your best friends, your close friends, the people you hang out with a lot, and you talk to them. That's typically 5 to 10 people. The next group is your network. And the way I qualify your network is like, if you wanted to go buy a truck and you don't know nothing about trucks, and you know John knows about trucks. You don't talk to John all the time. He's a friend, you know, you talk to each other on Facebook. You know each other, you can call him anytime, but he's just not somebody you talk to like you would your best friend or your close friend. So John is part of your network. If you're part of just the people on like your best friends' friends, your family's friends and stuff, that would be part of your network. The next group is your community. Now, community can be a wide range of different things. So I was talking to a guy the other day, and he's like, he's a really big part of the LGBTQ community. That is his community. And he's able to go in there and have all these conversations, and there's a whole bunch of group of people that he's connected to through these people. When I first came to California, I didn't know anybody. I had a small family with my wife at the time, and we joined a bowling league. And so the bowling league became my community, because I'd go there every week. I'd bowl. I get to talk to like 100 to 200 different people. Like every week would be somebody different. I ended up getting business from that. But if you don't have a community, you're like, well, I don't have anything like that. It's super easy to get that. Like, do you have a hobby? Do you have a hobby? What do you like to do for fun?
Watch TV.
Watch TV. So you know what? I would almost bet that if you went on meetup.com, you could find somebody that had some like affluence for television. There'd be a group for like some type of television thing.
That's not my hobby, but there are groups that are probably saying, oh, what shows are best?
Yep.
And it's a whole group that they have conversation.
Absolutely, 100%.
What's good on Netflix, what's good on, yeah.
That can be part of your community. If you're a chess player, if you're a car lover, like you name it, darts, bowling, like there's so many different things, soccer, sports, like we could go on forever, but meetup.com is like the best place to create a community. So if you're like, I want leads, I'd be like, well, go to meetup.com and go just like network with like 20 or 30 different people. Like it's super easy to do. Your next group out here is your audience. So we're all on social media at some point, and if you're not, you should be. We're all on social media, and your audience, there's people that are seeing the stuff you're posting that you're not talking to, that are not talking to you. Your job is to make social media posts that capture their attention and pull them closer to you. Tracy's really good at that. We've closed 2 deals, one from just somebody contacted us from seeing our online stuff and one from Instagram. So online presence is the audience part, but the last one is where everybody wants to go to. Strangers. People want to go talk to people they don't know, that they've never met, that there's no like trust there. And it's not that you can't get business from that, it's probably the hardest hustle. Will you get business if you hit it hard enough? Absolutely. Will it be enough business to support you for your entire real estate career? Probably not. I haven't seen anybody that, most people, I think 90% of agents get their business from sphere of influence and what we're talking about. Very small percentage get it from any other source. And what it is that you're trying to get business from strangers to become closer to you, so you follow up with them so you get more business, which you already have, which is your sphere of influence. So, but most people don't wake up and go, I'm just gonna sell the house today, right? Or, Mitra, let's go to lunch and go buy 6 homes. Like, that's not the way it works. People will typically buy and sell because of a life event. Something happens in their life and prompts a change. Because when you buy a house, it's like, this is my house. I love my house and I'm not planning on moving anytime soon. And people will move because they got a job, they lost a job, they got married, they got divorced, they had a baby, their kids are in school. Like, there's certain reasons why people will do certain things. I know, like in the San Fernando Valley, like parts of Northridge and parts of West Hills have really good schools. And there's people that are looking in specific areas for those schools. Now, if you know that and you're talking to somebody and they live in that area, one of the most important pieces of data to have is that how old are your kids? Because once your kids have got out of that school district and they're graduating, what's your plan? Yeah, empty nesters, right? Kids left school, that's a reason to move, they want to downsize, like there's all these reasons. So I think what is missed in the relationship, what is missed in the real estate world is the relationship aspect. Is that you are not here to help people buy and sell homes. Your job is to actually manage relationships. Your job is to call everybody you know and figure out where are they at in their life. That is the most important thing. And so, like, you're not going to call everybody and go, do you want to buy or sell? Do you want to buy or sell? Do you want to buy or sell? Because guess what? Everybody's going to send you to voicemail, probably block you, right? So your job is to say, hey, how is it going? What's going on? And if you do that enough, because this is what happens. You call your people, they're fine. They don't have to buy or sell. Job's fine, marriage is fine, kids are fine, school's fine, everything's fine, dog's fine, everybody's fine. But if you don't follow up with them enough, and you don't talk to them for like 6 months to a year, like, why would they ever use you? So the key is once you talk to them and have that conversation, when things aren't fine in 2 weeks, when things aren't fine in a month, when something happens, you need to make sure that they think of you. That you are the person they think of when they need to buy or sell, or if they have a real estate question. That happens all the time, and like people pass away, and people like have babies, and all these different things, and you need to make sure you're Johnny on the spot. Okay, database health is important. So your database health is basically how much information do you have on everybody in your database. Using command is really good for the simple fact that it gives you a score. So if you have their name, their address, their phone number, and their email, you probably have a pretty strong score on a person. But overall in your database, it will tell you who you have got information on and who you don't. The cool thing is that if you have a low database health, what that does is you can go through and target the people that you don't have all the information on and figure out how to get it. So if you don't have their email, you call them. If you don't have their phone number, you email them. If you don't have their phone number or their email, you find them on Facebook and you message them. And you do whatever you need to do to get information. I literally had an agent today send out a little video to her entire database and basically said, hey, I'm your local realtor. I don't know where it's from because I'm in a lot of people's database. And she just did this little video and I texted her back, go, this is a great video. She goes, thank you so much. What's your birthday? Here's my birthday. Maybe she'll send me a card or like a gift card or like a Starbucks. Maybe she'll send me something like, right? That'd be
Happy
cool.
birthday.
Right, Well, but it's not my birthday now. But it's like, she asked me what my birthday was, but she did a little video and, but not everybody on Zoom's gonna see it. Coffee appointments is great. So if, let's say you don't have people's information, you contact somebody in your database and say, hey, it's been a while since we've gotten together. Would you have some time for coffee? Figure out a reason to meet with them, even for lunch or quick bite or whatever, because every appointment and every time you meet somebody, that's an appointment. Because when you meet with them, it's super personal and you're going to figure out where are they at in their life. Taking notes. Taking notes is by far the most important thing, because if you have an average of 300 people in your database, it is impossible for you to remember everything about everybody, especially when your job is to contact people and get information on them. Having data on your people is the most important thing. Why do you think Google and Gmail gives out all of their stuff for free? You have a free Drive, you have a free spreadsheet. Like, they almost put Microsoft out of business because they gave away all the stuff Microsoft was selling to you for free. They give it away all for free. Why did they do that?
For you to use that.
Because they want all your information. When you use Gmail, do you ever see like ads in Gmail that's very, very specific to who you are? That's because they comb your emails. They go through your emails and they don't read your emails, at least that they say they don't read your emails, but they comb your emails for specific hot topics and then they market back to you. Very subtly, they're very good at it. But they do it because they want your data. You should do the same thing. You want everybody's data to market to them to find out what they're doing and so on and so forth. So you have to take notes when you talk to somebody on what you talked about. So when it pops up in your database that you have to call them next month, yes, you have to call them every month, you'll know how to reference what you talked about. Oh, the cat Fufu was sick, or the kid just graduated from college, or the wife was doing something XYZ. Like, you need to call them and say, hey, I just wanted to follow up with you because I remember you said the cat was sick. How's the cat? Or how's the dog? Like, when people have animals, animals are really important to people. So like, if you actually keep notes and ask about the animal, that actually that levels you up with people. Client events, we talked about that a little bit already. Client events is really important. So one of the reasons it's really important is that you can take a 40-touch program and increase it to a 100-touch program. The way you do that is through client events. So you can add on 10 or more touches to every client event. So you should be doing, in my opinion, at least 4 events a year for your people. So we do a pie event. The reason that turns into 10 more touches is that we create a Facebook post, we create an email, we create a text message, and we blast out about the event. And to be honest with you, it doesn't matter if anybody even shows up. Everybody's worried about the attendance and all of these things. And like, let's say we did the moms and mimosas and nobody showed up. Well, we would never tell anybody that nobody showed up. We would take photos of all the stuff that we had out, everything that we did, and we would market to everybody, and we'd be like, thanks to everybody that came, thanks to everybody that came, and we'd post photos of all the event, but you would never know that nobody showed up because it's all a marketing opportunity.
Next time they show up.
Next time they'll show up, they'll be like, oh my God, that was so cool. I can't believe we missed it. But people get busy. There's people that were supposed to show up that didn't show up, that said, hey, we would love to come to that, but we can't. But we did get about 25 people that showed up, but it's not about the people showing up. It's about the marketing opportunity to show the cool things that you're doing, because next time they'll come. And it builds credit with people, because People are gonna use you when they know you, like you, and trust you, right? So they knowing you is really easy right now with social media. Liking you, that's why video and posting a lot on social media is important, and talking to people is important, because that's how they get to like you. The trusting part comes in time. Everybody's gonna be a little different. That's why you have to market with frequency. You have to follow up with frequency and aggression. But client events, you can add 10 plus follow-ups to each event that you have, to where you can have 100 touches with everybody in your database just based on extra client events. So let's talk about the follow-up plan. This is the important part. The follow-up plan, I'm gonna go through step by step, and it's very specific. It's very specific because if you have 300 people in your database and you just email them, that's called spam. They're not gonna pay attention to it because they know you're probably a realtor, or they'll see something, and now every email you send them, they're just going to delete or not look at. Now, when somebody subscribes to you, you put them in your database, and they know they're in your database. If you talk to them more rather than less, statistically, it's proven that they're actually going to not unsubscribe. You will get a higher unsubscribe rate if you talk to them less, because if somebody signs up for your stuff today, and then you email them in 30 days, there's a chance they're not even gonna remember why they signed up with your stuff, and they're like, delete. I always wanna take cues from like hotels. So I went to an event in Austin, Texas this month, and I signed up, I booked a room, and when I booked the room, the second I booked a room, I got a message. Second day, I got a message. 3 or 4 days before I got there, I got 4 or 5 different messages. I've already gotten like 7 touches from this place, and I'm only giving them like $500, right? Your clients are giving you thousands upon thousands of dollars. Like, it's behoove of you to talk to them more. If you sign up anything with Grant Cardone, who's an internet marketer, who's a sales guy, if you sign up with him, he bombs you, like bombs.
Daily.
Like daily. Like I signed up because I always want to see what people do. So I signed up, like he texts me now. I have Grant Cardone on my phone. He texts me, right? It's wild. He will just bam, 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 because he knows. He knows he's not worth $1 billion because he's stupid. He knows, and this is the thing. If somebody unsubscribes or they get mad, they weren't going to use you in the first place. So don't worry about that. But the key is to create value, and you don't do that by starting anything with a text message, or starting anything with an email, or starting anything with a buy or sell Facebook post or anything like that. You start your campaign, your follow-up campaign, with a phone call. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you do not want to do the phone call, you are shooting yourself in the foot. Because if you make a phone call and you have that personal connection, and then you send an email, now that email has value. If you do the email first, it's spam, it's marketing, there's no personal connection there. Making the phone call first. 12 phone calls will dictate when and what the next follow-up will be, meaning text or email. So I say that because there are people that do not like to actually talk on the phone. Like the generation today, if I call my kids, it goes straight to voicemail, and they text me and they go, what do you want? And when they call me, it's always a FaceTime call, which I think is weird. Like, why are you video calling me like right now? Just call me. But that's the younger generation. So the thing is that if you call someone, and this is how you do a phone call, if you're trying to connect with a client, you call them. If it goes to voicemail, you hang up, you wait a minute or two, and then you call back, because you don't know what that person was doing. You're not sure if they were busy, if they're going to the bathroom, if they were talking to somebody else. Like, there's all these reasons why someone wouldn't answer the phone immediately. So you wait a few minutes and then you call back. If it goes to voicemail again, you leave a very brief, not detailed, not long voicemail, and then you shoot them a text.
What is it?
Depends on why you're calling the person. So this is the thing. This is not about a blanket marketing phone call. This is about a phone call based on that person. So if I just talked to that person a month ago, or if you know something specific about that person, you're going to call that person and say, hey, I was just calling because I just wanted to follow up with you. We talked last month, it's important to reference the last time you talked because that will subliminally put in the frequency that you're doing what you said you would do. You say, hey, I just want to call and follow up with you. We talked last month and you mentioned that your dog went to the vet. I just wanted to see how Jimmy was doing. Just want to see how you guys were doing. You know, if you need anything, let me know. Something like that, something that's personable and connects to them. And then you shoot them a text message. Hey, I just wanted to catch up with you. I just want to say hi. You know, talk to you soon. I left your voicemail. And then you send it just a note. A little note that says, hey, just wanted to follow up with you. I missed you on the phone call, blah, blah, blah. So the phone call is number one. Number two, a personal thank you note for every conversation or attempted conversation every time, no matter what. So if you go by door knocking with somebody, if you do anything, any type of conversation, you see somebody in the grocery store, go back and you write a little just a note. Hey, it was really great seeing you in the grocery store today. You know, let's catch up. You always try to tie it into something personal. And it's just another thing. It's just another thing and another thing and another thing. Birthdays. Ryan Serhant is one of the #1 agents in the world. He does billions of dollars of sales every year. The first thing he does when he wakes up is he goes on his account and he wishes everybody a happy birthday for the day. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. Facebook makes it super easy. I would do more than just a Facebook post. You have the ability to have that flagged in your system to where you can have an alert come up when somebody's birthday happens. And actually, if you have an iPhone, if it will ask you, do you want to put the birthday into the person's contact information in your phone if you say happy birthday to somebody, which I thought was really cool. But you can have it come up in your contacts where you're going through your contacts and you spend 30 minutes, 20 minutes during the day going through wishing everybody a happy birthday. You send them a phone call, you send them an email, you send them a text message, something that's personable to that person. Like if you guys communicate through email, make it a personal email. And you can preload these in your database. Typically, you can preload them, put some emojis in there, and have that shot out for every contact. So that's 12. That's however many per. So one a year per person. A home anniversary card. It doesn't matter if you've sold them the house or not. Most agents, actually, I don't know of any agents to do it. You say, hey, did you know, and this is what I would do. Send them a message, say, hey, did you know that you bought your house 10 years ago on the 25th of May? Happy home anniversary. Here's a quick market report for your neighborhood. If you have any questions, let me know. Don't tell them what their house is worth. Say your house is worth between 800 and 1.1. You know, just something, this is a marketing opportunity because you're like, hey, well, because nobody else is going to do this. And the reason I got this idea was that when I first got into real estate, I remember I was like trying to talk to everybody I knew to like get business. I'm like, hey, do you have a realtor? Like, do you want to buy or sell? Like, well, I was just combing everybody. And I had somebody that worked at this car dealership because I worked at a car dealer. I worked as a technology person for the car dealerships before I was a realtor. She was like an admin or something. And she told me, she said, you know, I would love to use you when I'm ready, but my realtor sends me a box of See's candy every year that my home is, that we closed. I was like, what? Man, that's expensive. Does he do that for everybody? Like, because I didn't get it, but I'm like, that's actually really cool. And that's probably really expensive for him, but he probably gets business from it. So a home anniversary card. Monthly market information. Everybody should have a newsletter. Everybody, there's agents out there that their whole business is just newsletters. And it's great to have social media. It's great to have Facebook. It's great to have Instagram. But like, it's great to have TikTok, but like TikTok could get banned. Like Facebook could go away. Like everybody remember Vine? Vine went away. Like it's social. If you have a database on your social media platform, that is not yours. That is somebody else's. And if that goes away, all of that information goes away. The only value you have in your business is your database and your newsletter if you put one together. The job of your newsletter should be to answer industry questions, put in cool things, and redirect them back to your website, which if your website is not on point, address that, make sure it's on point. But people go to Zillow all the time. Why do people go to Zillow?
Easy.
It's easy. But what does Zillow do that we don't do? Nothing. All Zillow does is create a Google algorithm to advertise on Google, to where they are the top thing. You put in a home in Westwood, one of the top, if not the top result will be a Zillow result. They pay for that stuff. We can do that too. I've done it. And all they've done is direct people to their website. And what is the number one thing that people go there for if they want to buy or sell? They want to see how much their house is worth. They want to see what the homes in the neighborhood are selling for. And the funny thing is that people swear by it. We have a deal right now going on. The guy hammers us of what his Zillow Zestimate is. Zillow says my house is worth 1.2 and it goes up $22,000 a day. I'm like, will Zillow pay you that? Probably not. And I had to tell him the other day, I'm like, listen, Zillow is not an accurate depiction of what your value is. That's why it's called a Zestimate. Okay, they can't call it an estimate. And it's widely incorrect. But most agents don't have anybody going to their website because you're not doing anything to direct anybody there. So a newsletter is something that you can do that with. Once a month, and I would actually do it twice a month. That's what our team does. We send it out twice a month. Christmas card, holiday cards, that's one. Send out a holiday card. New Year's Eve card. I think that's a really, really valuable thing because nobody does that. Thanksgiving card. Do you know of anybody in your family? Do you know of anybody in your database that has served in the military or a military? That would be important to know, right? Because what if you sent out a 4th of July card? So I put 4th of July, it could really be any other holiday. Pick another holiday that you don't typically think about getting cards on. You know, don't pick, I would say don't pick Easter because that's very religious centric, but if you know somebody and their nationality or whatever, pick something that connects with them. Memorial Day, you know, Veterans Day, like find out who your people are and put in an extra touch around that. Text message follow-ups. Text message follow-ups is super, super valuable for the simple reason that most people communicate through text message. 97% of all text messages are read. Actually, do I have any that are not read? I have 2 that are not read right now. Everybody communicates through text message. Everybody. So following up with people with a text message, even if, like what I do, is that if I see something that makes me think of somebody, I text them, hey, I just saw this thought of you. It's really that simple. Because that's a touch. You put your name in front of them. Facebook. So this will put it over 100 touches per person as well, if you do it right. So with the way Facebook engagement works, the most valuable thing that will help you with somebody's connection is a share. So if you know people on Facebook and you're friends with people on Facebook and they have a business or they're doing something that's valuable to the community and they have something funny or they do something cool, share it. Because they see who shares what. And then that means you're putting your stuff in front of other people. And if you want people to share your stuff, you have to share their stuff. Liking, commenting, Facebook messages. I send Facebook messages to people all the time to see what they're doing. Hey, how's it going? What's going on? How's your office over there? How's Porter Ranch? How's this? Blah, blah, blah. The more engagement you do on somebody means the more time that person is going to show up in your feed. I started connecting with people in Las Vegas from when I was in school. And I have this guy, he's a friend of mine. We were sort of close. And he ran a car club, and I found him on Facebook, and him and I started talking. And now it's just like I like and comment on his stuff all the time, but now his stuff shows up in my feed all the time, constantly. So if you want people's stuff, like if you, and I do a social media class where I talk about pick your dream 25 clients and the people you want to work with. And then you start going out and you start communicating with them. They're gonna start showing up in your feed and you'll have the opportunity to like and comment on all of these different people. I'll give you an example is that, does anybody watch Next Level Chef? Have you seen Next Level Chef?
No, I want to.
So there was a guy in it who's from LA. I didn't know he was from LA, but his name was Mata. He was a super big buff dude, and he got all the way to like, I think the top 5 or 6. And he on Instagram, constantly Instagram, post on Instagram. I started commenting and liking his stuff, and then him and I started messaging each other back and forth in the private messages. And it's just like, I made a comment, I'm like, hey, because he showed a thing he was working out. I said, hey, that looks like the place that's close to where Antonio LaFasa works out. And he's like, yeah, Chef Arrington works out here too, and this and that, and la, la, la. It's like, we started having this, so now like, I'm trying to make this connection with this dude that's in LA that is going to be a like celebrity chef that has all these connections. It's like, that's how you grow. So Facebook has massive power, social media has massive power, and you have to utilize it at a level that is way more uncomfortable than where you're at now. And don't be afraid to follow up. Most people have this idea, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to bug people. I'm afraid they're going to block me or whatever it is. This is the real. It's like, if they're going to make a side comment, if they're not going to like your follow-up, if you're not going to, they're probably not going to use you anyway. And it's a volume conversation that you have to have a volume of people that you are following up with, and the bigger number that is, the more business you're going to have. Gary Keller says that to be a millionaire real estate agent, you have, if you want to market to 12,000 people a month that you don't know constantly with all the things that they say, which would be massively expensive, by the way, you can make $1 million by doing that. Or if you had 2,000 something or another, I can't, 2,925, 2,425, man, I used to know this number off the top of my head. It's right around 2,000 people in your database and you're marketing to constantly, consistently. That's $1 million in your bank. Most of us do not have that many people in our database. But it should grow. Your database should grow, because if your database doesn't grow, you're going to have natural attrition, because like people will move away, you won't get their contact information, people will pass away. Some people will just change what they do and you'll lose contact with them. So if you have 500 people in your database, it's going to naturally go to 499, 498, 497. So every day you should be trying to grow that database, either through the people you know or meeting new people from going to events and doing different things. And there's so many different ways. I think the statistic is the average person has 27 conversations a day. Every one of those should count to you growing your database and making sure that every one of those people you talk to knows that you're in real estate. Don't ask them if they want to buy or sell, just know that they're in real estate. Is that my last slide? Okay. Find their social media and follow them. Everybody in your database, go through, find out where they're at, what social media do they like. Are they on Instagram? Are they on Twitter? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on YouTube? What are they on and what are they doing? You may find out some cool things that you didn't know, like a sports team that they follow, that they're doing cooking videos now on YouTube. Like, I didn't even know they had a YouTube channel. They like LinkedIn better than anything else. And you follow them and then you go and you comment on all their stuff. People subscribe to you and they follow your stuff because they want to see what you're doing. I know most people are like, oh, I'm so boring. I'm so this, I'm so that. You know what? The Kardashians are kind of boring, but we're super interested in like all the things that they're doing. And then over time, their drama became like super entertaining to everybody. And now they have built brands based on their following. Like they took literally doing nothing and living their life and having drama-filled lives to having billion-dollar brands, which is wild. People subscribe to you because they want to see what you're doing. They're interested. There's a voyeur aspect to the world that is wild because reality shows have taken off in such a crazy way. And just for everybody to know, it's not all the reality is not real. Like it's all scripted in some way, shape, or form. But people subscribe when They want to see what you're doing. If somebody subscribes to your stuff and you don't message them and you don't follow up with them aggressively, you're gonna get a higher unsubscription rate and people are gonna stop following you and they're gonna be not interested in you. So following up frequently and aggressive is important. And so 65 plus touch with the newsletter, roughly 43. And I would say it's 43 touch if you even eliminate Facebook. Facebook puts you way over 65 and close to 100. But I will tell you this, I think that the idea of people bothering people is a mindset issue. So we go back to the very beginning with mindset. And I will tell you this, if you don't want to be salesy, right? You don't want to be salesy. If you want to be salesy, then only talk to them a couple of times, talk to them 4 times a year. That's going to make you salesy. If you don't want to be salesy, you don't want to be the salesman, you don't want to be the real estate salesperson, you talk to them every month as much as you possibly can, because when people realize you care, that's when the business happens. When people realize there's another level there of you caring, that's really super important, and then that will get you business all the time, every day, no matter what. There's a book that I read back in like 2006, I think it was, by Gary Vaynerchuk, called Crush It. And it was on social media. Social media wasn't a really big deal at the time. And it was super influential to me. And he wrote a chapter 9. And the whole chapter was one word: care. If your people know you care about them and you talk to them all the time and they know you're in real estate, they're going to use you. And then your job is to build your database up with more people that know that. That's really it. Do we have any questions before we wrap everything up? See, is there, I saw a little red dot in the chat. Is that a question or?
Ellen's saying good morning.
Who?
Ella?
Oh, hey. Questions, thoughts? All right, no questions, no thoughts. Let's, we're gonna do the drawing now for everybody on Zoom. Do we have everybody on Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's on Zoom. We have some people in the audience here.
Everybody's in.
Okay,
Everybody's
Right, look at you, you're on top of it. All right, I am not doing the drawing, so that would not be fair. I just pick my name and then go buy myself something pretty. We're gonna let Sandy pick it. So
Okay.
Sandy's gonna pick it. $100 Amazon gift card goes to
Glenn.
Glenn. Glenn.
What?
Is he in?
Yeah.
We what?
Sharing.
We what?
Okay.
What I said, he's sharing.
He's a big share it 3 ways.
Well, there we go. There we
Okay.
go. Well, congratulations, Glenn. I will email him the gift card, since I don't see him here. And then, thank you guys for coming. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
I'm gonna email out the touch program that I have to everybody, and then you guys can let me know if you have any questions. All right, guys, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Oh,